everyone. My name is Samantha Meadows. I chose to do my analysis on Psycho because I love slasher movies, and Psycho was the movie that basically started it all. Psycho was an American horror movie that was filmed primarily at Universal Studios in Los Angeles, California, and released in 1960. It was produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, who also directed other iconic films such as The Birds and Vertigo. The screenplay was written by Joseph Stefani and was based on the novel of the same name by Robert Bloch. The film stars Janet Leigh as Marion Crane, John Gavin as Sam Loomis, Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates, Vera Miles as Lila Crane, and Martin Balsam as Milton Arbogast, the private detective. The film is considered Alfred Hitchcock's best and most influential work and ranked among the greatest films of all time. The film is about Marion Crane, played by Janet Leigh, who steals $40,000 from her employer so she can run off with her lover, Sam Loomis, played by John Gavin. She leaves her town of Phoenix, Arizona to go to Sam in Fairvale, California. During a crazy rainstorm, Marion starts to imagine conversations in her mind of her boss discussing the stolen money, and she becomes increasingly more nervous and decides to pull off the road to take refuge for the night at the Bates Motel. It is here that she encounters the motel's owner, Norman Bates, played by Anthony Perkins. After checking in, Norman offers to bring Marion a sandwich and milk from the house above the motel, and while he is gone, she can hear Norman arguing with his mother. Norman and Marion have a conversation about his mother upon his return, during which he delivers the infamous line, "We all go a little mad sometimes." After the conversation, the two go their separate ways for the night, and Marion gets into the shower where she meets her gruesome death in the following scene. This iconic scene was storyboarded by legendary designer Saul Bass and took a whole week to film. The scene is described by director Karen Kusama as the first modern expression of the female body under assault. It is mostly shot in extreme close-ups with swift edits so that the violence and nudity are felt deeply by the audience, but never actually seen. The shower set was built so that any of the walls could be removed so that the camera could get in close from every angle. Alfred Hitchcock used a fast motion reverse shot to make it look like the blade actually pierced Marion's stomach. They actually used a watered down can of Hershey's syrup for the blood. The shrieking strings of composer Bernard Herrmann's tension inducing score are recognized to this day by people who haven't even seen the film. Fun fact: the sounds of the knife piercing Marion's flesh were actually created by stabbing a cassava melon. Hitchcock had the crew try out different varieties of melon until they found one that made the sound they were looking for. This film inspired the homicidal thrillers of the Italian Giallo movement and American drive-in slasher movies, beginning a whole new world in the cinematic universe, and inspiring music and filmmakers to this day. The twist at the end of this film came as a shock to everyone and began a shift in the style of Alfred Hitchcock's film style. The film was very controversial not only because of the infamous shower scene with all of its suggested violence and nudity, but also because of the taboo themes and situations presented and the censorship concerns during the time of release. In the opening scene between Marion and her lover Sam, they are in bed together in very little clothing. There is a suggestion that Norman had incestuous feelings toward his mother, along with a disturbing hinted possibility of necrophilia. Norman also cross-dresses in his mother's clothing, suggesting the possibility that he could in fact be a homosexual. Some of the main themes in Psycho are mental illness, which is presented by Norman's confused identities and hidden sexuality, which was explored through Norman's reactions to his attraction towards Marion and how his internal struggle ultimately led to her murder. These ideas and themes really stuck in people's minds because they weren't really ideas that had been touched on before in film in such ways. Another interesting fact is that the film was the first to show a flushing toilet in mainstream film and television in the United States. This film caused a stir in so many ways and left an everlasting impression on Hollywood. It is one of the most iconic films of the horror genre and should be enjoyed by everyone at least once in their lifetime. Thank you all, and I hope you enjoyed my analysis of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.